tutto, come ho già
Ok.
detto.
Ok, so li lascerai andare forse. visto
Ok.
che-
Grazie Michela, grazie.
Grazie a voi e buon proseguimento.
Ecco, Larissa Cersosimo, una dottoranda dell'Università di Genova.
Ok, c'è Rita, la vedo. Ciao Rita.
Ciao a tutti, good morning.
Okay, so I'm giving the floor to Rita, I imagine.
Ok, thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much
That's it.
again.
Everybody.
Thank you, dear Michaela. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for
It's been a great pleasure.
torturing you.
I think we're going to keep in contact.
Yes, hopefully.
Ok, looking
Yes.
forward to hearing from you. Ciao a tutti, grazie. Buona giornata.
Grazie.
Ciao Giulia anche.
Ciao,
Buona giornata,
ciao.
ragazze, arrivederci.
Okay, and now you will hear about inclusive language teaching and technologies from Giulia Stagini and Rita Cersosimo, our young researchers.
Thank you, Diana. I'm going to show you some slides and we will change a little bit our topic from from before, but I hope that you will be interested by our little research. So today we are talking about inclusive language teaching and technologies in case of special learning differences that are dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and so on. But before we start, we want to give you a little presentation. Who are we? We are two PhD students in digital humanities. We are both teachers of foreign languages and researchers in inclusive language teaching. So your questions will be more than welcome during our speech. So today I will show you some barriers to learning a language in case of special learning differences, and we are using this label after Kormos and Smith because, as you may know, in some countries these learners are seen to have a learning disability. But in this speech we will show that perceiving them as different or special rather than deficient in certain skills and abilities helps us understand these learners better and to assist them in their successful inclusion in the language classroom and in general in every classroom we are in. So the three barriers are the emotional one, a cognitive one, and a linguistic one. So I will show you briefly these three barriers. The first one, of course, is the emotional barrier. And although emotional feelings are not the cause of dyslexia, for example, you know it very in a better way than us, probably, they can have a great impact on learners' attitude towards foreign language learning. It should be taken into account that languages are usually learned in an institutional context, so it might affect both motivation and foreign language anxiety. As you may see, motivation is composed by duty, need, and pleasure. So students should associate language with a positive experiences. And if this is not the case, they will develop foreign language anxiety. And this will be revealed in communication apprehension when speaking, in text anxiety when reading, and fear of negative evaluation when they are assessed in a language. So this could be the first problem when they are learning. The second barrier is a cognitive one, of course. I'm using here the term cognitive load, and I'm referring to the amount of mental effort used in our working memory when performing a task. And those are some properties that are shared by most of the common linguistic exercises, such as foreign language processing, rely on previous knowledge and do multitasking activity while speaking a foreign language. Another thing that contributes to the cognitive barrier is the aptitude that each student, each learner has toward language learning, and that are, for example, the ability to perceive sounds and associate them with graphemes, for example, that is the phonetic coding ability, and also to retain association between sounds and meaning. The second one, for example, is the grammatical sensitivity, that is the ability to recognize the grammatical functions of words and phrases. And the third one is the inductive learning ability, so to infer grammar and structure without explicit training. And we will see what to do in these cases, because everything we have covered so far bring us to show you some recommended changes to learning environment. These learners absolutely need explicit and direct instructions in a step-by-step guided approach. So structure is very important for them, but also a top-down approach, that is from a clear theory to practice. They don't need an inductive methodology, they need structure and theory before practice. We should also take into account that culture and nonverbal communication is very useful for them, because they can compensate their difficulties falling in love with the language, and also developing a non-verbal communication and a cultural communication that is so important for them. The last one, of course, is compensation with technologies, and my colleague will talk about that in 2 minutes, I think. So now we have identified some barriers, and let's see what to do to design accessible learning environment. Here we have the language teaching accessibility theory from the DEAL research group in Venice, the wonderful Venice. We have 4 main features for this theory that are structure, multimodality, multimediality, and adjustment. I'm going a little bit deeper into them. So structure, language lessons, as I was saying, are more accessible for learners with dyslexia or language needs when they are highly structured and when they present metacognitive reviews and overlearning. You should repeat again and again in different contexts all these structures. How? Possibly in a multimodal way. So I'm using this term to refer to an enriched learning environment in which language is presented with a wide range of sensory channels. So, you know, the theory of learning styles to help them develop a language, a foreign language. The third one is adjustment. Of course, sometimes language needs to be adjusted to suit the needs of these learners. And last but not least, and this is the topic for today, technology is an effective tool to support learning and also to provide a lot of opportunities for multimodality, as we were saying. So the 4 are highly connected into this theory. But what do we mean by inclusion? This is a quote by the European Commission, Special Educational Needs in Europe, and this is the message we want to share today with you. So it is obviously true that some learners need very specific language learning approaches, But it is also true, and this is the true inclusion, that the same logic applied to good foreign language learner for non-SEN learners applies to those with SEN. So if you build a good environment for people who have difficulties, you will help every student, even if they don't have difficulties in language learning. This is the last slide for my part, and I will give you 4 questions to help you choose a technological tool for teaching, but also in your workplace. So the first one is accessibility. So ask yourself if the tool is suitable for the learner's digital skills, because sometimes learners don't have enough digital skills and neither do we. So find the accessible tool for both you and students. The second one is complementarity. So is the tool complementary to the activities, or it is just a supplement? And it should be a complement, not a supplement, and integrate very well with the activities. The third one is flexibility. So is the tool flexible enough to meet the student's needs and change with your students? This is a question we should definitely ask to ourselves. And the last one is interactivity. We should ensure active student learning while using a technological tool. And I pass the word to my colleague, Giulia, that will show you some technological tools.
Thank you very much, Rita. So, well, Rita perfectly explained you the theoretical background on which our research is based. And I'm going to share my screen to just show you actually what are the technologies. Okay, well, Rita, I'm going to use your PowerPoint if it's not a problem for you, because actually,
don't worry.
Yeah, I have some problem in sharing my screen right now, as always, when you least expect and when you least need it. Technology in this case is not a help. Okay, so actually, web-based COL is very important for dyslexia and students with dyslexia. But what is web-based COL? COL means computer-assisted language learning. So as Levi in 1997 stated, is the search for and the study of the applications of the computer in language teaching and obviously language learning. Web-based is another label that has been added recently because of the web and the internet exploitation in such a strategy. So the main use of COL for dyslexia and in the case of teaching teaching languages to students with dyslexia is about dispensatory measures on which compensatory tools are developed, lesson planning, lesson planning, and teaching environments. As you know, dispensatory measures are all those measures that are highly suggested to teach students with dyslexia. So, for example, providing them extra time, help them manage their time, prefer oral tests and exams rather than written ones, and also helping them typing rather than writing, and so helping them develop digital and computer skills because they are very important not only in note-taking but also as a strategy to implement their study methods. On the basis of such dispensatory measures, some compensatory tools were developed, and the main types of compensatory tools are spell check, so the use of softwares and applications to control and check the spelling, TTS applications and software, so text to speech. As you know, reading can be a very important and demanding part of students with dyslexia, and I would like to remind any of you, maybe there is no need, but actually dyslexia in English is an umbrella term for all of the language differences that Rita previously illustrated, so dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and dyslexia per se. Then there are also text editor app and softwares that are very important to modify texts. Also, word prediction writing is something very useful for students with dyslexia because they help. It helps them to collocate words and to build a sense, a logic sentence. And finally, concept and mind maps creators that are very important, for example, to organize their studying process and also to organize their time. So it is very helpful for time management. So let's go on, and I will show you some technologies, compensatory tools for language learning. In particular, I would like to talk about EFL, which means English as a foreign language. So I'm going to show you 6 examples of compensatory tools. I decided to divide the tools, the apps for kids and adults, because obviously there are some softwares and apps that are specifically kids friendly because they are game-based, they have game-based scenarios, they are very colorful, they use simple words to stimulate and to motivate students that are who are kids, while on the other end we have adults, so much more mature people who have other needs. So first of all, let's see kids applications. Montessori crosswords. This is a very nice application based on the Montessori strategies of teaching, and it helps students build words from 320 word, image, audio, phonics, and combinations. And it is very useful because there is a sort of movable alphabet, and they can build their own words and then their own sentences. Then we have EPIC, which is a digital library, and it is a very useful repository because it contains almost 25,000 resources, including ebooks, audiobooks, videos, and quizzes. And as you know, digital books are very important for students with dyslexia to access books and to access reading. Leo is the last app I decided to report as an example for kids, and it is an app for the transcription of recordings to texts. So there is a sort of repository and of the transcriptions of the recordings, and it is also very funny for them to record their voices. Then let's pass to adults after app and softwares. We have GoToEat Real Writer, and that's a very useful tool for people who are learning English because it helps people learning English to write and correct their texts. So it's a sort of writing assistant software. Then we have Spell Better. Spell Better not only improves spelling, as the title of the app says, but also it is also an application for word prediction, for auto-completion features, and text-to-speech. You can also highlight words, you can build your own dictionary, you can have your repository in which you can save a lot of elements. And finally, TAP, another digital library, but in this case for adults. So there are novels, there are different genre, literature genre, and it is also a very useful app to build readers' confidence and capabilities, to make them more confident. And so as we saw with Rita's introduction, reducing anxiety is very important. Now, as we said, CAL, so computer assisted language learning, is not just for compensatory tools, but it is very important also for lesson planning. And I reported an example of learning apps. What is learning apps? Learning apps is a website that make teachers create their own activities and tasks. And I reported 4 main activities that you can create. First of all, 2 activities that can help to reduce emotional barriers. So enhance motivation, reduce affective filter. Affective filter is a concept by Krashen. Krashen was a linguist that in 1975 introduced this concept, which means a set of emotional barriers that negatively affect language learning, and obviously reducing anxiety. So the first task that is very useful in this case is group assignment. Thanks to learning apps, every teacher can assign group tasks, and so that enhance collaborative atmosphere among students, and also inclusive education, because students from different cultures, from different socio-linguistic backgrounds can co-work, and that's very inclusive, an inclusive practice. Then we have horse race, which is a game-based learning activity. So there is you can play solo, or you can play together with your schoolmates or your university mates, depending on which level of school we are talking about. And it's a sort of challenge between students, and so it promotes collaborative tasks, but also it is very fun to play. Then I decided to include 2 other tasks that are very helpful in reducing cognitive and linguistic barriers, so reducing phonetics and orthography problems that people and students, learners can develop, and cognitive load, and obviously that can help memorization. So first of all, audio and video that can be added to your tasks. So there is a multimodal input, audio and video all together, a multisensory input. So also in this case, you can have more senses that are stimulated. And the second activity is guess the word. Guess the word, as the photo shows, is a sort of game in which the student should guess the word, obviously. And so it is a game-based learning activity, and it is also very helpful to build words and to learn how to spell words, and so to correctly write them. Finally, as we saw in the first introductory slide, CAL is very useful also as a teaching environment strategy. And one of the main recently studied teaching environment is extended reality. Indeed, recently, extended reality has been proved to be very effective in language education, even if there are few researches up to now, especially in Italian context. But let's go step by step. What is extended reality? Extended reality is an umbrella term that includes virtual reality. So there is no, in virtual reality, there is no awareness between a real reality and my experience in virtual reality. Augmented reality, which is a label that defines the reality which is augmented by virtual elements. So there is the recognition of different levels of reality. And finally, mixed reality, which is actually an out-fashioned word. So what are the main purposes and the main positive aspects of extended reality for language learning? First of all, about the affective and psychological sphere, it creates an informal environment. It helps enhance motivation, stimulate creativity, and as O. Yang and others recently stated and proved in one of their articles, it is a safe-to-fail environment and a trial and error learning. So these two aspects are fundamental to reduce anxiety. As for language sphere, extended reality allow communicative tasks in context. And as Rita said, cultural aspect is very important. So it enhances cultural competence, especially nowadays in this pandemic scenario. Extended reality was very helpful and has been very helpful to teach students, to teach a language, a foreign language to students with dyslexia, because they could experience a real situation in a real cultural context, even if it was just a virtual reality scenario. And then there are no space and time limitations, which means that students can practice languages whenever they want and wherever they are. And this is very important for them. About cognitive sphere, extended reality, as we repeatedly said, is very important as a multisensory stimulus, as a multimodal input, and it triggers association. And by doing that, it also stimulates memorization. And we can use total physical response approach to teach languages. This approach was developed half a century ago, and it proved to be very useful, especially with kids, because by playing, for example, by moving and through movement, they can memorize better. That because of our mirror neurons, neuronal cells that are connected both with the movement and language system. So thanks to that, also, for example, an adult can learn a language by doing some physical movements that are not just playing a game like kids. And I would like to show you some examples of these environments. And we have three main kind of virtual reality and augmented reality environments. First of all, Assembler Edu. And Assembler Edu is especially useful in the case of augmented reality, and it is very kids-friendly. It is as kid-friendly as CoSpaces Edu, which is a AR and VR environment, while ThinkLink has a more mature aspect, and so it especially fit adults learning. I would like to show you two examples if I can. I actually don't know if I can. Yeah, I try to share my screen right now. Maybe Teams can. Yeah, here I am. So I would like to show you two practical examples of what Rita and I developed both in CoSpaces and Edu. These are two language lessons, let's say English lessons. CoSpaces was used for kids, while London Eye, that the title of the second one, was used for ThinkLink. So let me see if my computer is okay. Can you see Mm. Okay, you can't see my computer, or you can?
Yes, you can. Is
Okay.
downloading the activity.
Okay, yeah.
Actually.
Thank you, Rita. Because Teams reported me to the first and main screen, so I didn't know about that. You know, CoSpaces and ThinkLink obviously require a very skilled computer, and right now I don't have one, if I have to be honest. But I mean, let's try one of them, because we wanted to show you a practical example of what we're talking about. These two environments are very useful, for example, to teach cultural competence. Cultural competence is actually underestimated in most cases, because sometimes there is also and still the thought, the belief that culture and language are two different aspects. But actually, there is no language without culture, and competence is very useful to develop language learning. So in this case, as you can see, this is ThinkLink. We uploaded a 360 VR image. This is about London Eye in UK. And we have a series of activities, interactive activities, that the student can use whenever he or she wants, and especially there is the freedom, the liberty to use them as they like. So for example, I'm going to show you just one of them. This is London Eye, from the London Eye. So there is also audio. I don't know if you can see. Okay, and there is also a very important tool for students with dyslexia, because there is that let students have a vocal synthesizer. So there is a guided reading of the activity. Here we are. I hope that it works. Okay. And then there are other activities. For example, here we can add images. We can add other applications, for example, that are embedded in the text of the activity. And so, for example, we used Quizzes, another website that is very useful to build quiz in a game-based scenarios, and so on. So they can have quizzes about English culture, and in this case, English royalty. So, as you can see, virtual reality environments are very useful to let students be creative and to let students be active, have an active role in their own language process, language learning process. And also it can be a very useful tool to reduce every single emotion barrier that we talked about. So we kindly invite you to think about introducing VR and AR also in your teaching experience, maybe even just once, to try and to experiment and to see also students' reaction to that. Because it's very interesting to notice how students can be motivated and also curious, fascinated by this type of technology. And especially when we're talking about students with dyslexia, it's important to create a collaborative, an informal and collaborative atmosphere. And as we as Rita and I stated, we would like to refer at these activities not just for students with dyslexia, but for all students in the language classroom, and so as an inclusive lesson, because that's very important for us, and we would like to underline and to highlight the fact that an inclusive classroom, an inclusive language classroom is always a better option than any other type of language classroom to make students be aware of their skills and also face and discuss other skills and learn that diversity is a very important and enriching aspect more than anything else. So thank you very much for your attention. Rita and I are very glad to be here with you. And I have to say that all your discussion from today, but also on other days, were very interesting, informative, and the comparison between the two systems. So your system and Italian system was very, very interesting. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much, dear Julia. Thank you very much, dear Rita. Some questions. First, general. It sounds exciting. Digital humanities. How can you explain in a few words some about your specialty? Is it popular? It's sure it will be quite new. Yes, sure. And to explain, and masters, bachelors, PhDs program. What it, please.
It's quite rare, even here in Italy, to find a digital humanities course, and it's a multidisciplinary course. So we are, for example, we graduated in languages, in foreign languages, but there are people who graduated in communication or ancient languages or art. So there are many things, and they provide us with courses in, for example, in the interaction between a human and machine, artificial intelligence, extended reality, and all the ethic even discussions on these matters. So we are very happy to be part of this course, but it's enriching. Really.
Let's say that at the base of these courses, because University of Genoa has both a bachelor degree, master's degree, and then the PhD program in digital humanities. Actually, if we think about it, research and academy are actually working on digital humanities. So it's important to acquire specific skills about that. So let's say that the majority of us have a classics background, so literatures and languages background, but
not IT. Excuse me, not IT specialties, social sciences and languages.
Yeah.
Great, it's interesting.
But we have to include technology in our research projects. So technology has a very crucial role in our projects, not only extended reality, virtual reality, but for example, also MOOCs, also other platforms. For example, Rita's project will be also about Moodle platform. Is there?
I know. I'm trying to increase the accessibility of Moodle, because I know that every time that you mention,
work hard and quickly, please.
So, for example, we are working right now on an English course that was, let's say, that was organized on Moodle. And for example, we are reflecting and studying how to improve this course on Moodle, because we, let's say, there are a lot of complaints that students with dyslexia reported on their questionnaires, and but not only students with dyslexia, probably every kind of student that took that course was not so satisfied. So that's why we think that digital humanities is very important nowadays. We can think about teaching and learning without technologies, because, for example, also informal learning. So, for example, when we go on a website, we have to know how to write in English, for example, and so there are two spheres, two types, two fields that are interconnected, and so that's why it's very important. Rita and I are have a master's degree in foreign language. Actually, Rita in foreign languages and literature, while I graduated in language sciences with a focus on teaching Italian as a foreign language. And I have to say that this pandemic has obviously some disadvantages, but also some advantages, because we could demonstrate that if teachers are highly informed and can develop some skills about technology, enhanced learning, teaching and learning through internet. The internet can be very very positive for students, especially for students with dyslexia. They can, for example, rewatch recorded lessons, and that was very useful for them. So the use of video, both video and writing and the oral mode. So it was very interesting for us to try and to research about that topic.
Great, thanks for your detailed, very interesting answer. You know, Rita, you know, we're praying for your success. Yes, and do you have any tutors with specialization exactly in inclusion? I'm asking because we are trying to, at our department, we're trying to combine interdisciplinary courses, and in our project we're interdisciplinary project, because here Anna Fuzova, she is the Vice Dean of our special faculty, inclusive and special education faculty. And we tried our department, management of social culture activity, and we tried to combine medical point of view, psychological point of view onto inclusion, and our social point of view, engagement, social inclusion of all social culture aspects of inclusive education. As far as I could understand, at your specialty, also it's interdisciplinary, digital, and humanities, but you're speaking about inclusive education. Do you have any tutors, experts, specialists exactly in inclusion? I mean, from medical, cognitive, and psychological
So the PhD responsible is Professor Zanovini, that is Psychology of Disabilities.
You will meet her tomorrow. You will meet her tomorrow, and we have her as a tutor, and we have also a linguist, but also a specialist on technology enhanced learning, that is an engineer, I think, Professor Trentini. I think so.
We both have 3 tutors, so 3 supervisors. First one, which is about inclusion. So, for example, in this case, Mirella Zanobini, which is also the official. She has the official role for the university system about inclusion and dyslexia students. So she's our rock on which we can count. And also we have a specific figure about teaching. so language teaching.
Language teaching.
And also another professor about technology. And they are all Ferlino for Professor Ferlino for Rita and Professor Trentin for me. They are from the ETD, which is the National Research Institute for Technology. And this is a sort of spin-off in Genoa, but there is also a national one. So we are very glad that we have all this.
And it's good because it's outside university. This center is a national center that cooperates with our university, but it's a research center, so it's a little bit outside, and this is very good for us even to meet the territory.
It's my pipe dream to do something in this direction, because pandemic shows us every day that we need to, unfortunately, we need to migrate into the digital sphere. Willing, are we willing or not, we have to do this. Yes. Maybe I'm always thinking about international cooperation projects. Maybe we'll discuss later, because our department is also sort of humanity. Yes, social culture activity, it's humanity, and we need to do something to enhance our specialities, and tourism and event management and social cultural technologies, to improve them by digital competencies, digital skills. And my another question is pragmatical, practical. Could you please share with us some, unfortunately free, I already sign for EPIC as parent, as educator, but it's, could you please advise us some resources, some sites when we can pick up this augmented or in extended reality?
Yeah, they are all free actually. The base program, so the base subscription is free. So both CoSpaces and ThinkLink are for free. Obviously, if you want to, for example, create more than, if I don't remember wrong, it's more than five lessons, you then have to subscribe for some amount of euros or dollars, probably a year. But actually the base form is for free. So we are going to share with you some links here in the conversation, in the chat, so that you can have them. And
maybe share the slides if you want. Yeah, I can. So that you have even our contacts.
ThinkLink.com already, also, we tried to apply for Horizon 2020 with the theme interculture, interactive visual communicative technologies. Because I'm head of laboratory of social dimensions of cognitivistics. Cognitivistics, it's like humanity, but all concerning our cognitive process. It's holistic approach. Is my doctoral degrees, not PhD, but Doctor of Science, the next one. But unfortunately, at our university, we could not find any specialists in digital technologies. That was about 8 years ago, but I'm still dreaming about this, because gamification and digitalization of our learning courses, it's a very actual demand. It's also the answer to pandemic challenges, probably. And even without pandemic, pandemic, yes, we are going to this way. So we'll try to enjoy this journey.
No, it's a beautiful journey. So I don't know. So
maybe we have another question. If
yes,
I'm not
I
wrong.
Can see.
Probably Olena, if I'm not wrong. I hope to pronounce it okay, right?
Yes. I think that's from Michaela's presentation.
I can see maybe someone.
Okay. So
with in an image inside here. they can have a question or...
Анна, вы хотите что-то спросить у них по этому самому?
У нас просто не такие возможности информационные, как в Италии. Очень было интересно послушать этот опыт, и будем внедрять. Я уже скачала презентацию, спасибо большое. Вот, будем внедрять на базах практики в первую очередь, чтобы знали про приложения, которые могут помочь ученикам с дислексией лучше воспринимать информацию. У нас пока это все на уровне простого языка, и тоже перенимаем опыт Европы.
Who will translate, Diana?
I can't reply now.
Dice in Ucraina non ci sono le tecnologie o le possibilità che ci sono in Italia, però per lei è stato molto interessante perché non solo per insegnare le lingue, ma proprio per far sì rendere l'ambiente, diciamo, scolastico più inclusivo per questi bambini con dislessia, in particolar modo.
Definitely.
Quindi,
Thank you.
Per lei è stato molto interessante.
У нас в основном работают с детьми с дислексией именно логопеды. Логопеды, а не вот комплексная команда, которая могла бы подключить информационную поддержку такую, компьютерную, технологическую. Вот это
Будем
мечтать,
будем теперь думать об этом. Мне понравилось.
Da loro lavorano con i bambini dislessici solo i logopedi, cioè solo i logopedisti, quindi non hanno un approccio, diciamo, multidisciplinare. Quindi.
Here we call it bio-psycho approach. So everything around them must ensure their inclusion, not only from a medical point of view, but also environment and schools and teachers in general. So thank you for noticing it.
Però logopedisti da loro non studiano presso la facoltà di medicina.
Ah, ok.
Sono pedagogia.
Ah, okay.
Я
this
сказала
is different.
про вот такую разницу, потому что логопедисты у нас, логопеды в Италии, учатся при медицинском факультете, они врачи.
Наши логопеды изучают очень обширный блок медицинских дисциплин, несмотря на то, что они заканчивают педагогический университет. У нас тоже такой, знаете, комплексный подход к обучению, больше у нас это называлось раньше дефектология, да, там, где и медицина, и педагогика, и психология. Вот, поэтому наши логопеды изучают очень большой объем медицинских дисциплин, анатомию, физиологию речевого аппарата и другие сопутствующие дисциплины.
Cioè da loro studiano sì medicina, ma finiscono a facoltà di pedagogia. È un approccio diverso. Ecco, questo per farvi notare la differenza già.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, that's very interesting. But all this, especially yesterday and today, it was very interesting to notice how many differences there are from between these two systems. So, for example, even the fact that logopedia, I don't know, it's logopedy maybe in English, it's not a medical field in your country. That's very interesting because in our country has a total different administration and aspect. So thank you.
And not only, I remember almost every year I visit Cognitive Modeling Forum. It started from cognitive neurolinguistics, and also organizers add to our conference team us, specialists in the sphere of cognitive sciences, in IT sphere, in education, and other spheres. And very interesting speaker and researcher Fusa Katada from Waseda University from Japan. I love her, really. She's very good personality, a very good specialist. And she tried to explain us, she also, your colleague, she's a teacher of English language as a foreign language in Japan. And she, her research, her first research was about different perception types, moral languages and non-moral languages, and why dyslexia is not usual for Japanese and Chinese and Eastern languages, because a different way of perception, different way of combining and transferring and changing sense and visual image and sense and different principles of works, I mean brain and cognitive principles. And it's not a medical problem, but unfortunately sometimes dyslexia is caused by medical organic traumas, organic, but it's really a cognitive problem, because different type of perception, absolutely different way of perception of senses, and visualization is quite important. But I already get the key issues that it's very difficult. It's quite new for for researchers, and we need to know many things, how our brain works. No, it's cognitive research. So.
Yeah. We have a question.
Yeah, hi. My name is Andre. I'm sorry, I a little bit miss your part, but I catch the main. I wonder about another thing. So I have experience in lecturing in Italy. As I tell your colleagues before, I was lecturing the course of media management in the La Sapienza di Roma.
Wow.
And also the Foggia University in middle part of Italy. And the main thing that I know about Italy, that situation from north to south is pretty variable. So that is why I was in luck actually to meet the Southern University, the Central University, and hello Northern University.
Hello.
The thing is, I wonder most of all. So as I understand, actually from yesterday's meeting, that you are the public university, you are not the private university. Okay, that means that because I also have experience lecturing in private university in Italy and in public university also. And the thing is that all in all, inclusion and decisions in inclusion are majorly, I wonder, majorly financed by the, let us say, government financing of the university, or by a special funds of university, because as I saw before, they are different from university to university, because in your stuff, I can see that you, let us say, more delicate and more political, you are upgraded than others. And you have a lot of decisions, up-to-date decisions. And the thing is, how to say, who is paying for this added value of making extra decisions in inclusion?
It's always the government.
Okay.
It's always that, sometimes even for private universities.
Oh.
Because here we have, so there are private universities, but as for private schools, they try to put the two universities at the same level. Even at schools, for example, there are public schools, that are not in the English sense, but guided by the ministry, and private ones, and they call it paritarie, that is equal. Okay, so that's it. And I would like to share with you the most recent research about public and private universities, and the number of students with special needs in both universities is almost the same. So they find it the same way.
Actually,
I'm sorry, unfortunately, it's in Italian, but I think that it's visual, so you can find it useful.
We can read Italian.
The thing is, actually, that was my second question, because how to say, I try to figure for myself the script of, for example, physically disabled student. Because I see the trend. I see the trend in Italy that majorly all universities are like locally oriented. Because, for example, in La Sapienza, like all the Latina region are studied in La Sapienza. And the thing is, for example, let's imagine the situation that I live somewhere near the Rome, but I see that inclusion program in Genoa is better than in Rome, for example, where you can get this information. Because in other case, if I want to make a decision for my next 5 years, it's better to move to Genoa or better to move to Firenze, like this. So I was wondered if there is a difference, and if there is a difference for public and commercial universities. And third question, I was wondered about, have you, if we say about the financing of inclusion, that it's majorly made by government, can you feel the difference that made by government or European Union?
Special funds, yes?
Yep. What do major?
Okay, so I think you can find it in the research I've just sent. Every university has to report their politics for and policies, for inclusion. So a student that wants to go there, he can check before what are the services for his special need. So this is the first question. And I don't know if Julia maybe is more about the European funding.
Let's say that basically all national universities, so public university, are funded by government. So the budget of each university includes also money to enhance inclusion. So actually the main is that. As for the European projects, it depends on the university, because usually here in Italy, if you want to access European money, you have to win a public announcement from Europe. So I'm going to
that was a little thing about
exactly. And so that's pretty difficult. But for example, we as a practical example, our University of Genoa, has recently won extra money for tutor project. So for example, we can have tutors for students also with disabilities and with the dyslexia, generally speaking. And that was a European or maybe another extra public announcement. And also, for example, my scholarship is not directly from University of Genoa, but it is from a private, actually it is a private bank, Intesa San Paolo, that decided to invest on humanities and on PhD students. So for example, about 52 projects, just four of us were selected. And my project about inclusion and language teaching won this scholarship. So as you can see, let's say that 90% is based on nation and government money. The other 10% is from private or extra or European and extra European scholarship, public announcement, and so on projects. And for example, if you're interested, we are going to share with you a poster about an event that Rita and I organized which is virtual reality, inclusion, and language learning in the frame of an international conference, which is CH Italy, so computer-human interaction, and that's an international conference, and we are going to talk with other university about inclusion language learning. And there are two European project teams that are going to explain and illustrate their projects. And for example, there is also a project that mainly made about logopedists and psychologists that use VR and AR as a form of rehabilitation, and so as a treatment for students with dyslexia. And so thanks to European funds, also inclusion in that case was part of European committee and European project plans. So let's say that recently European committee and European, especially Erasmus Plus projects have been focusing on inclusion from different point of view. So I would say that I hope that small percentage can become a little bit higher.
Yeah, thanks much. I'm okay.
Thank you everybody for your interest on it.
May I ask a short question? One more, excuse me. Do you know other universities, European universities with the same specialty, PhD or master program, digital humanity? Are you connected with them or not? It's only Italian, only your university approach.
It's not just our university, but we have to say that there is no a network of digital humanities and so PhD programs like that. So we hope to create a network on that. But I don't know if Rita knows about other faculties, other departments all over the world. Probably USA has something like that. But not here in Europe. It's not so common to find the faculties just like us. And also here in Italy. There are no so many. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to all of you.
You've been so kind. Thank you.
Wish you a great success. Not only in Moodle.
Fingers crossed.
I wish that to you. Thank you
very much.
See ya. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye everybody and thank
Grazie
you.
ragazze, è stato molto bello, grazie.
Grazie a te, Diana.
Okay, see you tomorrow. I think you are too tired after this hard day. We have 5 hours. So we worked for 5 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
ciao.
Well done.
Ciao Giulia, grazie ragazzi.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, this
Bye.
time
Have a
in
nice
Italy,
day.
we're supposed to sleep.
I'd like to be in Italy.
Everybody
Have a
likes to be
nice,
in Italy.
have
Come
a
on.
nice evening.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Чего все с камерами подключаются потом? Надо было фоточку сделать с девочками красивыми.
Так, а что ты мне не маякнула? Я ж тебе уже...
Ну ладно.
Да, ну хорошо, все.
Да, выходим пока.
Набираемся на завтра сил. Пока.
Скажи мне, у тебя первая, если мы еще здесь пока, у тебя первая сессия, у тебя твоя сессия, у тебя...
Юля не вышла, Мария. А ты на паузе на какой-то. Мария, ты на паузе.